Before humans understood the secrets of evolution, before science revealed the origin of unique life forms, there already existed a world where each species seemed to guard an ancient story. On the Galapagos Islands, among volcanoes, wild coasts, and oceans full of life, strange creatures evolved in isolation, adapting to a world unlike any other. Welcome to Wild Galapagos, strange animals in the living museum of evolution. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to give us more motivation to keep creating quality content. Don't forget to comment below on what you thought of the video and tell us where you are watching from so we can talk together. Let's begin. In the volcanic rock highlands emerges the oldest sovereign of the Galapagos Islands, a living monument of resilience. Known scientifically as Chelonoidis niger, this creature is the largest terrestrial tortoise on planet Earth. With a weight that can reach 400 kilograms, its physical structure is an imposing mass of muscle and bone designed for eternity. Its massive bone shell functions as a biological fortress, protecting its internal organs from the scorching 30°C sun. This giant is the undisputed master of longevity, easily exceeding 100 years of existence in the archipelago. It lives at an extraordinary pace of parsimony, moving at a speed of barely 0.3 kilometers per hour through the brush. It possesses a high-efficiency metabolism that allows it to survive up to an entire year without ingesting a single liter of water or food. It acts as the supreme gardener of the islands, consuming kilograms of cactus and fibrous vegetation daily to mold the landscape. By feeding, it fulfills the vital mission of dispersing seeds across kilometers of terrain, guaranteeing the botanical regeneration of Galapagos. Its massive step crushes invasive weeds, creating biological paths that other smaller species use to navigate the dry forest. Unlike agile mammals, its power resides in persistence and a biological armor that defies the passage of time. It is a living relic of the past, a majestic character that has remained almost unchanged for millennia in this laboratory of evolution. During the mating season, males stretch their necks to demonstrate their hierarchical status through the biological height of their gaze. As a keystone species, the health of the giant tortoise is the barometer indicating the biological integrity of the entire untamed archipelago. The giant tortoise remains as the eternal guardian of Galapagos, the ancient spirit that reigns with infinite patience under the sun. On the volcanic shores where magma merges with the crystal of the Pacific, the sovereign of the tides emerges, the dragon of Galapagos. The marine iguana, known scientifically as Amblyrhynchus cristatus, is the only lizard in the world that that has conquered the liquid abyss. This inhabitant of fire and water patrols the black lava rocks, a basalt setting that defines its biological existence. Its dark skin is a masterpiece of thermal engineering, designed to absorb solar radiation with maximum efficiency. It possesses sharp and robust claws that function as impregnable biological anchors against the mechanical force of the waves. This titan of the shores defies extreme cold by diving into waters that drop to 15 degrees Celsius to seek its vital sustenance. It is capable of descending to a depth of 30 meters, a feat of biological endurance in the reptile kingdom. Its hunting technique is based on surgical precision, using its short snout to scrape green algae from underwater stones. During the dive, the animal performs an energy-saving maneuver, reducing its heart rate by half to conserve oxygen. It possesses specialized nasal glands to expel excess salt through rhythmic sneezes that look like an exhalation of crystal. After the gelid banquet, it returns to the hot rocks to activate its stagnant metabolism under the scorching 30 degrees Celsius sun. Unlike its terrestrial relatives, its laterally flattened tail acts as a powerful rudder to navigate the blue abyss. With a length of 1.5 meters and a weight of 12 kilograms, this scale-armored warrior is the absolute sovereign of its patch of coast. It lives in massive colonies where collective intelligence and shared heat ensure survival during the polar night. Faced with the shadow of a predator, the iguana relies on its volcanic mimicry, remaining motionless like an inert granite statue. Its amazing adaptation allows it to process the nitrogen and minerals from the algae, transforming them into the stamina necessary for combat. It is a resilient inhabitant that has survived eras of biological isolation, maintaining its pure lineage in the heart of Galapagos. As a keystone species, its biological health reflects the purity of the ocean and the abundance of resources in the indomitable archipelago. The marine iguana remains the guardian of the reefs, the titan that unites the fire of the volcano with the cold of the sea. Every movement in the liquid crystal is a testimony to the will to live at the limits of the impossible, under the eternal sun. The cycle of life on the coast is completed with its presence, ensuring that the majesty of the Galapagos fauna never fades. Beyond the volcanic coasts, where the ocean descends into dark depths, hammerhead sharks patrol like living shadows under the waves. Their characteristic hammer-shaped head makes this predator one of the most recognizable silhouettes in the marine world. Some species can exceed 4 meters in length and travel across enormous stretches of open sea in search of food. Their eyes, separated at the ends of the head, widen the field of vision and allow them to monitor a much larger area underwater. Additionally, they possess sensors capable of detecting electrical signals emitted by fish and other animals hidden near the seabed. Near the volcanic islands, hammerhead sharks often gather in large groups before dispersing into deep waters to hunt. The shark detects movements under the current, descends slowly, and follows the prey, taking advantage of the darkness of the deep ocean. It reduces the distance without drawing attention, using its exceptional sensitivity to locate each change in the prey's direction. When the right moment arrives, it accelerates decisively and launches the attack from the depths before the prey can react. Around the volcanic islands, hammerhead sharks turn deep waters into a territory where every shadow can hide a predator. Around the rocky coasts of Galapagos, a predator bears the name of the archipelago itself and patrols the waters as a guardian of the marine ecosystem. The Galapagos shark, known scientifically as Carchahinus galapagensis, is one of the great hunters of these volcanic islands. It can exceed 3 meters in length and roam extensive coastal areas where fish, rays, and other marine animals abound. Its robust and muscular body is designed to patrol reefs, rocky walls, and oceanic channels with great efficiency. As a top predator, it maintains constant pressure on large and medium-sized fish that inhabit the archipelago's waters. Thanks to its highly developed senses, it can detect movements and vibrations even in deep and poorly lit waters. Near a volcanic reef, a group of large fish tries to stay together while searching for food among the sea currents. The Galapagos shark detects the group's activity and begins to approach using the cover of underwater shadows. It reduces the distance slowly, observes the most vulnerable individuals, and waits for the right instant to act. When the opportunity arises, it accelerates quickly and launches the attack before the prey can take refuge among the rocks. The hunt ends quickly because in the open reefs, surprise is often as important as speed. By controlling populations of large fish, the Galapagos shark helps maintain the ecological balance that sustains the extraordinary biodiversity of these islands. In the arid heart of the islands, where solidified lava creates a mineral labyrinth, emerges an inhabitant of prehistoric appearance that dominates the desert. The Galapagos land iguana, known scientifically as Conolophus subcristatus, is the undisputed sovereign of the volcanic plains and cactus forests. Its skin features intense tones of yellow, ochre, and brown, a biological camouflage that seems to merge with the scorched earth under the equatorial sun. With a length that reaches 1.5 meters and a weight of up to 13 kilograms. Its physical structure is a mass of muscle and scales designed for resistance. Its main source of biological sustenance is the Opuntia cactus, a plant armed with lethal spines that this reptile consumes with astonishing dexterity. It uses its robust legs to manipulate the fruits and pads of the cactus, removing the largest spines before ingesting the pulp rich in water and nutrients. In an environment where liquid water is a scarce treasure, the land iguana extracts 80% of its vital hydration from this thorny vegetation. To protect itself from temperatures that exceed 35 degrees Celsius, this natural engineer digs deep tunnels in the soft volcanic soil. These underground shelters act as thermal bunkers, keeping the animal cool during the day and retaining accumulated heat for the freezing nights. It maintains a fascinating symbiotic relationship with Galapagos finches, allowing these small birds to remove parasites from its skin in a pact of mutual benefit. The males are territorial warriors who defend their patch of rock through head-bobbing displays and ritual combat that demonstrate their physical stamina. It is a long-lived inhabitant that can reach 60 years of life, becoming a silent witness to evolution in this biological laboratory of the Pacific. As a keystone species, it performs the vital mission of dispersing seeds across kilometers of sterile terrain, ensuring the regeneration of native flora. The Galapagos land iguana is the personification of resilience, a titan that reigns in extreme aridity with an iron will and armor of gold. Its static figure on the black lava is the ultimate testimony of the wild power that persists intact since the era of the dinosaurs under the eternal sun. On the branches of endemic shrubs dwell the architects of modern thought, small beings whose forms reveal the secrets of origin. Darwin's finches, belonging to the subfamily Geospizinae, are the living testimony of the most famous biological adaptation on planet Earth. Their most legendary trait is the diversity of their beaks, natural engineering tools shaped by the need to extract energy in hostile environments. The large groundfinch possesses a robust beak capable of exerting a bite force of 50 newtons, enough to fracture the hardest seeds of the archipelago. In contrast, species with thin, sharp beaks act as surgeons of the air, extracting nectar from flowers or capturing insects with surgical precision. The woodpecker finch demonstrates prodigious intelligence by using cactus spines as mechanical tools to reach larvae hidden in wood. In the most remote islands, the vampire finch has developed an extreme survival tactic, consuming drops of blood from larger birds to obtain hydration. These birds are the barometer of evolution, the biological laboratory where Charles Darwin understood that nature selects only the fittest. As a keystone species, they regulate insect populations and guarantee the dispersal of native flora in every square kilometre of the volcanic islands. Galapagos finches remain the guardians of scientific truth, the vibrant spirit that sings the story of life under the equatorial sun. In the cold currents of Fernandina and Isabella dwells a unique sovereign who traded the immensity of the sky for the secrets of the abyss. The flightless cormorant, known scientifically as Nanopterum harisi, is the only one of its family in the world that has renounced the power of flight. Its wings are now biological vestiges, small structures that have given way to massive, powerful legs designed for underwater propulsion. In the nutrient-rich waters of Galapagos, this elite diver reaches surprising speeds to capture fish and cephalopods in the volcanic labyrinth. Its existence is the ultimate testimony to evolutionary specialization, the resilient spirit that reigns in the silence of the marine depths. On the steep coasts, where basalt meets the tide, emerges a character of unparalleled charisma and impossible colors, the blue-footed booby. Sula Nebuxi is the sovereign of comic elegance and one of the most iconic inhabitants of the biological sanctuaries of Galapagos. Its most legendary trait is the cobalt blue color of its feet, an indicator of biological vigor resulting from the carotenoid pigments obtained from its diet. Upon the arrival of the mating season, the volcanic shore becomes the stage for a courtship dance that approaches choreographic perfection. The male lifts his feet rhythmically in an exaggerated wedding march, exhibiting his bright blue color to demonstrate his status to the female. In the climax of the ritual, both perform the sky-pointing posture, spreading their wings and raising their beaks in a pose of absolute loyalty under the sun. But behind the comedy of the mainland hides an aerial predator of astonishing mechanical power and surgical precision. From a height of 30 meters, the bird scans the blue crystal in search of schools of silver fish swimming near the surface. Upon locating its target, it closes its wings and enters a vertical dive, reaching a lightning speed of 97 kilometers per hour. The impact against the water generates a massive mechanical force, but its skull possesses air sacs that act as biological shock absorbers to protect its brain. It plunges like a hydrodynamic projectile, using its underwater vision to capture prey before the impact bubble dissipates. It emerges from the depths with immediate biological success, processing the energy necessary to maintain the vibrant heartbeat of its colony. As a keystone species, its presence is the barometer of marine abundance, ensuring that the biological balance of the archipelago remains intact. The blue-footed booby remains the guardian of the skies and seas, the joyful spirit that reigns with sky boots in the heart of Galapagos. Each dance and each flight is a testimony to the majesty of evolution in one of the most fascinating laboratories of indomitable nature. On the most arid cliffs of Galapagos, a figure of immaculate white plumage emerges, hiding one of the cruelest biological dramas of nature. The Nazca booby, known scientifically as Sula granti, is the sovereign of verticality and the protagonist of a fratricidal struggle for existence. Unlike other birds, this species usually lays 2 eggs with a difference of a few days, a biological insurance strategy against uncertainty. However, the abundance of resources in the archipelago is not enough for both, triggering a lethal competitive instinct known as siblicide. The first chick to hatch, stronger and more robust, uses its beak as a spear to expel its younger sibling out of the safety of the nest. Under the scorching 30-degree Celsius sun, the expelled chick faces a tragic fate, while the parents watch with a biological indifference necessary for the species. This extreme natural selection ensures that only the fittest individual receives the vital nutrients to become a sovereign of the air and sea. The survivor grows with formidable stamina, preparing to perform high-energy dives at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour. As a keystone species, the Nazca booby maintains the biological balance on rocky slopes, challenging gravity and the rigor of the equatorial climate. The Nazca booby remains the guardian of the cliffs, the resilient spirit born from the most absolute struggle in the heart of Galapagos. Above the thermal currents that rise from the volcanic rocks, the most elegant and feared silhouette of the air emerges, the pirate of the skies. The magnificent frigate bird, known scientifically as Fregata magnificens, is the absolute sovereign of aerial acrobatics in the Galapagos archipelago. With a wingspan that reaches 2.4 meters, its physical presence dominates the firmament with a lightness that defies the laws of gravity. Its skeleton is a marvel of natural engineering, weighing less than the total mass of its feathers to optimize every gram of biological energy. The most legendary trait of the males is their intense red gular sac, an elastic skin armor that expands like a colossal balloon. During the breeding season, this sovereign inflates his ruby chest to attract females, emitting rhythmic sounds that resonate in the colony. Unlike other seabirds, the frigate bird lacks waterproof feathers, which forbids it from landing on the surface of the liquid crystal. This biological limitation has sculpted an opportunistic warrior who has perfected the art of biological theft, or kleptoparasitism. Upon detecting a booby returning with food, the frigate bird explodes in a lightning acceleration, reaching speeds of 150 kilometers per hour. It performs high-energy aerial maneuvers, using its forked tail as a precision rudder to harass its victim in mid-flight. It uses its hooked and sharp beak to grip the wings or tail of the other bird, exerting mechanical pressure that forces it to release the catch of the day. With electric reflexes, the frigate bird catches the fish in the air before it touches the water, demonstrating a tactical mastery that approaches perfection. This inhabitant of the wind can remain flying for weeks without rest, sleeping in mid-air by using alternate cerebral hemispheres. As a keystone species, the frigate bird regulates the populations of other seabirds and ensures that the flow of biological energy remains dynamic on the reef. The magnificent frigate bird remains the guardian of golden horizons, the sovereign of the air who reigns with a bag of fire and an indomitable will. On white sand shores and over black basalt rocks, the most charismatic and noisy inhabitant of the archipelago emerges, the Galapagos sea lion. Xalophus wallabeki is an endemic species, a sovereign of the coasts that has adapted its biology to reign both on the mainland and in the blue abyss. An adult male can reach an imposing weight of 250 kilograms, possessing a robust muscular structure designed for territorial dominance. Its physiognomy is a marvel of hydrodynamics, allowing it to glide under the waves with an agility that surpasses that of the fastest predators. On land, the dominant male acts as the lord of the beach, tirelessly patrolling the boundaries of his harem against any challenger. Defending the territory is a high-energy mission, where the sovereign emits powerful barks that resonate like sonic warnings throughout the bay. When diplomacy fails, males face each other in brute force combat, using their massive necks to ram the rival with extreme mechanical power. The impact of their bodies generates a force of thousands of newtons, a display of stamina where only the strongest individual retains the right to the throne. While the males fight, females and pups play in tide pools, demonstrating social intelligence and contagious biological joy. Below the surface, this hunter reaches a speed of 40 kilometers per hour to capture sardines and cephalopods in the crystal labyrinth. It possesses vibrissae, or highly sensitive whiskers, that function as tactile radars, detecting the movement of prey in the gloom of the deep ocean. However, life in paradise is one of constant vigilance, as the mortal stealth of sharks patrols the deep waters of Galapagos. The tiger shark and the great white shark are its natural enemies, forcing sea lions to perform highly complex evasion maneuvers. The pups are the most vulnerable, so the colony maintains a collective protection structure near safe volcanic rocks. The El Niño phenomenon represents a severe climatic threat, altering water temperature and reducing the abundance of vital fish. As a keystone species, Its biological health reflects the vitality of the marine ecosystem and the purity of nutrient-rich currents. The Galapagos sea lion remains the guardian of golden sands, the vibrant spirit that reigns on the border between land and sea. Every dive and every roar is a testimony to evolutionary resilience in a world where danger and beauty coexist under the equatorial sun. Its presence guarantees that the pulse of biodiversity in Galapagos remains intact, maintaining the dynamic balance of the sacred archipelago. The cycle of life continues under its joyful vigilance, ensuring that the majesty of wild nature never ceases to amaze the world. Under the implacable sun of the equator, where the heat of 35 degrees Celsius embraces volcanic rocks, a biological miracle occurs that defies all logic. In an archipelago where one would expect to see only iguanas and tortoises, a familiar silhouette from gelid lands emerges, the Galapagos penguin. It is not the giant of Antarctica, but a tiny relative barely 50 centimeters tall that has learned to conquer the tropics. It is the only penguin that inhabits the northern hemisphere, an anomaly of nature that survives on the border of two opposite worlds. With a weight of only 2 kilograms, this small sailor is a masterpiece of thermal adaptation and resistance. Its survival depends on a fragile balance sustained by the Humboldt and Cromwell currents that bring freezing waters from the abyss. These veins of cold water transform the equatorial furnace into a nutrient-rich refuge where life can flourish under the scorching sun. To avoid overheating, the penguin uses its flippers to release heat and protects its delicate feet from sunburn. It pants like a dog to cool its body, an unusual strategy for a bird originally designed for eternal ice. In the water, its behavior changes drastically, passing from terrestrial lethargy to the speed of a hydrodynamic projectile. It launches into the ocean to hunt small schools of fish, moving at speeds that reach 20 kilometers per hour. The Galapagos waters are its battlefield, where each plunge is a precise dance between life and hunger. They work in small groups to corner sardines, using the silver light of the surface as a visual trap. Each attack is a display of agility, turning its compact body in mere fractions of a second to catch its prey. However, this thermal paradise hides a constant threat called El Niño, a phenomenon that alters the rules of the game. When the waters warm just a few degrees Celsius, the food disappears and the penguin faces the ghost of starvation. Seasons without cold currents are times of silent war, where pairs stop breeding to try to survive. Global climate change threatens to make these events permanent, putting the penguin in a race against extinction. On the shore, it must watch out for Galapagos hawks and introduced species that covet its nests in volcanic crevices. The fragility of its existence reminds us that the balance of nature is a thin thread that man is stretching to the limit. The Galapagos penguin is a warrior of the border, a symbol that life always finds a crack to flourish. Its story is not just of survival, but of an indomitable resistance against the sun, the sea, and changing times. In this enchanted archipelago, every small black shadow that crosses the water is a testimony to the will to exist. It teaches us that greatness is not measured by size, but by the ability to adapt to the vastest desert of water on Earth. The guardian of the equator will continue swimming against the current, an improbable note of life engraved in the deep blue of Galapagos. In the immensity of the liquid crystals surrounding the archipelago, an ethereal figure emerges that seems to ignore the laws of physics, the sovereign of the blue abysses. The giant manta ray, known scientifically as Mobula birostris, is the largest and most majestic ray inhabiting planet Earth, dominating the currents of Galapagos. With a wingspan that can reach 7 meters, its imposing physical presence glides through the water with absolute grace and divine parsimony. This colossus of the seas can weigh up to 2,000 kilograms, displacing an enormous mass with a fluidity that evokes the flight of an angel in the deep vacuum. Its anatomy is a masterpiece of hydrodynamic evolution, possessing wide pectoral wings that beat rhythmically to propel itself in the infinite blue. It features a jet black back and a white belly with unique spot patterns that function as an unrepeatable biological fingerprint. It possesses prodigious intelligence, boasting the largest brain-to-body ratio of all fish known to modern science. Its laterally situated eyes grant it long-range binocular vision, allowing it to watch for dangers patrolling in the gloom of the ocean. In the underwater architecture of Galapagos, mantas head toward coral reefs to visit the famous cleaning stations. Upon reaching the basalt promontories, the giant stops and initiates a hovering flight, challenging the force of sea currents. Hundreds of small fish, like the cleaner wrasse, emerge from crevices to perform a symbiotic mission of biological maintenance on its skin. These helpers remove parasites and remains of dead tissue, ensuring the sovereign's health in exchange for a nutrient-rich banquet. This sacred truce on the reef demonstrates a biological harmony where majesty and smallness coexist in a perfect dynamic balance. Once purified, the manta moves toward thermal convergence zones where Pacific waters concentrate a massive density of plankton. It uses its two flexible cephalic fins to direct nutrient-rich water into its cavernous mouth, acting as a powerful biological funnel. It is a specialized filter feeder that processes thousands of liters of water every hour, extracting the energy necessary to maintain its enormous physical stamina. During the banquet, it performs somatosensory turns and 360-degree flips to maximize food capture in the deep water column. In a demonstration of absolute power, the manta can break the surface of the marine crystal, performing spectacular jumps out of the ocean. Upon impacting the water, it generates a mechanical force of thousands of newtons, producing a roar that resonates like thunder in the blue abyss. These jumps are believed to be a form of high-energy social communication, or a tactic to dislodge stubborn parasites from its skin armor. As a keystone species, its biological health is the barometer of oceanic vitality, indicating the abundance of life in the paradises of Galapagos. The giant manta ray remains the guardian of submerged horizons, the indomitable spirit that reigns with elegance and power under the eternal sun. The cycle of life in the archipelago continues under its benevolent shadow, ensuring that the majesty of wild nature never ceases to vibrate. In the crystalline currents that bathe the volcanic coasts, an ancestral navigator emerges that has crossed the ocean since the era of the dinosaurs. The Galapagos green turtle, known scientifically as Chelonia midas, is the sovereign of persistence and the symbol of underwater wisdom. This ancestral traveler possesses a biological lineage that has survived geological cataclysms, keeping its essence intact under the equatorial sun. Its shell is a masterpiece of biological hydrodynamics, designed to glide with minimal friction through the blue abyss. With a weight that can reach 200 kilograms, its physical structure is a mass of muscle and bone optimized for transoceanic resistance. Its front flippers act as powerful mechanical oars, allowing it to navigate immense distances with superior energy efficiency. The diet of this giant is based mainly on algae and seagrasses, processing nutrients that define the green color of its body fat. It acts as the supreme gardener of the oceans, maintaining the health of underwater meadows through selective and constant grazing. Without its biological intervention, seagrass would become too dense, preventing the flow of oxygen and nutrients in the seabed. It possesses specialized salt glands near its eyes, expelling excess sodium through tears that look like an ancestral cry under the sun. Its navigation system is a sensory marvel, using the Earth's magnetic field as a high-precision internal compass. This biological GPS allows it to perform epic migrations of 1,000 kilometers to return with surgical accuracy to its birth beaches. Upon the arrival of nesting season, females wait for high tide to drag their enormous mass onto the volcanic sand of the islands. The ascent up the beach is a test of extreme physical stamina, where the animal must overcome gravity outside its liquid element. It uses its rear flippers as massive excavation tools, creating a deep nest to protect its genetic legacy from the elements. It deposits approximately 100 immaculate white eggs, ensuring the continuity of the species in this laboratory of evolution. However, life in paradise is one of constant vigilance against the mortal stealth of the tiger shark, its most feared predator. Galiocerdo, Cuvier patrols the shallow waters of the bays, waiting for the moment when the turtle is most vulnerable during its transits. The tiger shark's jaws exert a mechanical pressure of 6,000 newtons, a power designed to fracture the toughest shells. The battle for survival is a duel between the turtle's bony armor and the brute force of the transverse striped killer. The turtle uses its underwater maneuverability to perform tight turns, trying to keep its armored back facing the predator's mouth. Many turtles in Galapagos bear scars on their shields, silent testimonies of lethal encounters where resilience defeated death. After laying the eggs, the mother returns to the ocean, letting the heat of the volcanic sand act as a natural biological incubator. The sex of the offspring is determined by the nest temperature, a delicate thermal balance that today is threatened by climate change. Upon hatching, the small neonates of barely a few grams must run toward the sea under the shadow of frigate birds and hungry crabs. This lightning race is the first filter of natural selection, where only the fastest manage to reach the safety of the blue crystal. As a keystone species, the green turtle is the barometer of oceanic health, indicating the vitality of coral reefs and sea currents. The protection of its nesting zones is an urgent conservation mission to ensure that the heartbeat of biodiversity is not extinguished in the Pacific. The green turtle remains the guardian of slow times, the ancient spirit that reigns in the silence of the abyss with eternal elegance. Its journey continues under the equatorial sun, ensuring that the majesty of Galapagos fauna remains intact for future generations. On the black basalt of the volcanic coasts emerges a warrior of electric colors that defies the monotony of the mineral landscape, the Sally Lightfoot crab. Grapsus grapsus is the undisputed sovereign of agility in the tide zone, a master of balance reigning between the fire of the earth and the cold of the sea. Its shell exhibits a palette of intense reds, bright blues, and solar yellows, creating an artistic contrast against the solidified lava of the islands. This 10-legged acrobat moves with an astonishing speed of 10 kilometers per hour, jumping over crevices that would stop any other crustacean. Its extremely flattened body and articulated legs give it a low center of gravity, allowing it to withstand the mechanical force of Pacific waves. It uses its sharp tips as biological anchors, holding on to the volcanic rock with a power that seems to ignore the violence of the constant swell. It possesses long-range vision thanks to its stalked eyes, detecting the slightest movement of an aerial or terrestrial predator in a fraction of a second. As the supreme scavenger of the shore, it performs a vital mission by cleaning parasites from the skin of marine iguanas in a perfect symbiotic pact. Its diet is extremely versatile, consuming everything from microscopic algae to decomposing organic matter, maintaining the biological hygiene of the Galapagos coastline. Faced with the shadow of a heron or the approach of an octopus, the crab explodes in a lightning acceleration, disappearing among the mineral crevices. Its robust claws generate surprising mechanical force, capable of crushing small invertebrates and manipulating food remains with surgical precision. They live in dense colonies that transform the black rocks into a mosaic of red life, ensuring that nothing is wasted in the reef's energy cycle. As a keystone species, its presence is the barometer of the intertidal zone's health, indicating the abundance of resources in this laboratory of evolution. The Sally Lightfoot crab remains the spark of fire on the basalt, the tireless warrior guarding the purity of indomitable beaches. Each jump and each flash of its shell is a testimony to the wild beauty and resilience that dwells in the heart of this sacred archipelago. The Galapagos archipelago emerges as a biological coliseum in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, forged by the fire of active volcanoes and the solitude of geographic distance. These islands are the result of a hot spot in the Earth's crust, where magma emerges to create nearly unreachable volcanic stone sanctuaries. Located nearly 1,000 kilometers from the coast of South America, the total disconnection from the continent has allowed life to follow unique and extraordinary evolutionary paths. The thermal engine of this paradise is the Humboldt Current, which transports freezing and nitrogen-rich waters from Antarctica to the Earth's equator. The upwelling of the Cromwell Current injects a massive density of nutrients from the deep abyss, sustaining the base of the marine food pyramid. This clash of water masses creates an extreme temperature gradient, where the dry air of the lowlands contrasts with the humidity of the peaks. However, the El Niño phenomenon periodically alters this biological balance, raising the sea temperature above 28 degrees Celsius. During this thermal cycle, the scarcity of cold algae causes a stamina crisis in the sovereigns of the coral reefs, eliminating the less adapted individuals. The almost absolute lack of permanent fresh water sources imposes implacable biological pressure, forcing inhabitants to develop water-saving adaptations. The garua, or seasonal mist, is the lifeblood of the highlands, providing the necessary moisture for Scalesia forests to flourish in the aridity. This extreme isolation has sculpted the sovereigns of Galapagos under the laws of the purest natural selection existing on planet Earth. The result is an astonishing endemism, where more than 80% of land animals are not found in any other square kilometre of the world. Galapagos functions as a laboratory of evolution in real time, a stage where geology and biology dance in a harmony of fire and water. The majesty of its indomitable climate is the final architect of biodiversity, guaranteeing that the spirit of the archipelago remains eternal under the sun. The future of the Galapagos Islands is at a critical crossroads, where the majesty of its biodiversity struggles against the shadow of human expansion. Mass tourism represents an unprecedented biological challenge for the dynamic balance of these ecosystems that barely reach 8,000 square kilometers of mainland. The introduction of invasive species breaks the sacred threads of the food chain, threatening the sovereignty of endemic birds and ancestral reptiles. A 2 degrees Celsius increase in sea temperature alters the Humboldt Current, causing a nutrient scarcity that weakens the stamina of marine life. Sovereigns like the Galapagos penguin and the marine iguana face the abyss of vulnerability when warm waters sweep away their feeding grounds. The protection of the 133,000 square kilometre marine reserve is the definitive shield to ensure that the biological heartbeat of the archipelago does not stop. Modern science and satellite monitoring today allow for the safeguarding of the most fragile inhabitants with a mechanical precision never before seen in the Pacific. Fostering responsible coexistence is the only real way to preserve this laboratory of evolution that has revealed the secrets of the origin of life. Our global mission is to ensure that the majesty of indomitable nature prevails over the rigor of climate change and industrial expansion. Galapagos remains the guardian of planetary biodiversity, the sacred place where the pulse of creation continues to vibrate for eternity. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next content. Don't forget to share your opinions through the comments section. Before humans understood the secrets of the Atlantic forest, before science revealed the hidden life among its ancient trees, there already existed a world where every shadow could hide a predator. in the Atlantic forest, amid humidity, deep roots, and closed vegetation, hidden hunters move in silence, waiting for the exact moment to attack. Welcome to the Atlantic forest, the dangerous territory of hidden predators. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to give us more motivation to keep creating quality content. Don't forget to comment below on what you thought of the video and tell us where you are watching it from, so we can converse together. May God bless everyone with health, peace, and love for nature. Let's begin. In the humid shadows of the Atlantic forest, the jaguar advances as the silent sovereign of a kingdom covered by leaves, roots, and mist. Its scientific name is Panthera onca, and among the big cats of America, none combines such strength, stealth, and precision in a single body. Here, where light barely touches the forest floor, the jaguar does not need to show itself to dominate. Its territory can extend through tropical forests, wetlands, riverbanks, and dense areas where every shadow can hide an ambush. The body of the jaguar is compact and muscular, designed less for prolonged speed and more for a short burst of absolute power. Males typically weigh between 56 and 96 kilograms, although some exceptional individuals can exceed that figure in regions with abundant prey. Its golden coat, covered in dark rosettes, breaks up the shape of its body among spots of light, fallen branches, and thick vegetation. Each step is low, calculated, and almost invisible, as if the forest itself had learned to breathe with him. Its jaws are one of its most fearsome weapons, with an average bite force close to 887 newtons at the tip of its fangs. That pressure allows it to attack with a different precision than that of other big cats, concentrating its strength on a single decisive point. Its eyes read the smallest movements in the underbrush, its ears catch faint rustles, and its sense of smell recognizes the fresh trail of a nearby prey. Near the water, the jaguar detects a group of capybaras. It lowers its body, advances among fallen trunks, and lets the vegetation hide every movement. When the distance is reduced to a few meters, it launches from the shadow with sudden acceleration and directs all its weight toward the chosen prey. The capybara tries to escape toward the water, but the jaguar has already closed the distance. With a precise charge, it brings down its prey and ends the hunt. The result comes quickly, because in this forest, the jaguar does not waste energy or grant a second chance. Faced with many smaller predators, its advantage lies not only in strength, but in the ability to choose the perfect moment. When it feels threatened, it can respond with deep growls, a firm posture, and a presence capable of stopping any prudent rival. As an apex predator, the jaguar regulates prey populations and maintains the invisible balance that sustains life in the Atlantic forest. Beneath the murky surface of the rivers and swamps of the Atlantic forest, the caiman remains almost motionless, like a living relic of an ancient world. It belongs to the subfamily Caimaninae, a lineage of reptiles adapted to live among marshes, lakes, mangroves, and slow rivers of Central and South America. Unlike a predator that dominates by presence, the caiman rules through patience, silence, and absolute waiting. Many species are medium-sized, but some caimans can exceed 2 meters in length, while the black caiman can exceed 4 meters and weigh more than 450 kilograms. Its low, elongated body is covered by hard scales, a natural armor that protects it among submerged trunks, roots, and poorly visible waters. Its eyes and nostrils remain on the upper part of its head, allowing it to breathe and keep watch, while almost its entire body remains hidden. In the dark water, only 2 cold eyes can reveal its presence. But for many prey, that signal appears too late. Its diet includes fish, waterfowl, amphibians, reptiles, and small mammals that approach the shore to drink or cross the river. Although it does not always seek large prey, its advantage lies in turning the shore into a dangerous border between terrestrial life and the submerged world. For hours it can remain still, reducing its movements until it looks like a dark log floating among dead leaves. When it detects prey near the shore, the caiman barely changes position, only its eyes follow the rhythm of each step on the mud. It approaches slowly under the murky water, using the current, the roots, and the shadow of the bank to erase the shape of its body. When the prey lowers its head to drink, the caiman bursts from the water with a sudden acceleration and closes its jaws in a single movement. The hunt ends in seconds, because on the riverbank, the caiman's patience is transformed into a fast, precise, and decisive force. Faced with fish and waterfowl, its attack can be almost invisible, a brief rupture in the surface before the water becomes still again. On some riverbanks, the caiman shares territory with the jaguar, creating a border where 2 great hunters watch each other from different worlds. The jaguar dominates the shadow of the forest, but the caiman controls the entrance to the water, where every imprudent step can change the fate of a prey. Its defense also depends on its armor, the power of its tail, and a bite capable of holding firmly beneath the surface. When threatened, it can sink without noise, disappear into the mud, or respond with a tail slap that stirs the entire bank. As an opportunistic predator, it helps regulate populations of fish, birds, and small vertebrates, maintaining the balance of tropical wetlands. In the gloom of the Atlantic forest emerges a ghost of supreme elegance that dominates the understory with unmatched agility: the ocelot. Known scientifically as Leopardus pardalis, this cat is the undisputed sovereign of stealth in the densest and most humid jungles of Brazil. Its coat is a masterpiece of nature, with patterns of rosettes and black chains that make it invisible under the filtered moonlight. It moves with absolute discretion, using the soft pads of its paws to avoid generating even a single decibel of noise on dry leaves. Weighing between 8 and 15 kilograms, its physical structure is a mass of compact muscle optimized for lightning speed. Its eyes are equipped with night vision 6 times superior to humans, detecting the slightest movement in the total darkness of the forest. It possesses highly mobile ears that function as biological radars, capturing the heartbeat of a small rodent hidden 10 meters away. The hunt begins with a meticulous stalk, where the ocelot reduces its profile to the minimum, blending with the roots of giant trees. Upon locating the precise moment, it explodes in an acceleration of 38 kilometers per hour, transforming into a lethal arrow in the midst of the vegetation. The impact of the attack is surgical, using its retractable claws to secure the victim before delivering the final bite to the back of the neck. Its jaw exerts a mechanical pressure surprising for its size, capable of fracturing bones with a bite force of 300 newtons. Its versatility allows it to climb trees with ease and swim through streams, dominating every level of the deep tropical labyrinth. It is a solitary warrior that patrols a territory of up to 30 square kilometers, marking its sovereignty with highly persistent chemical signals. As a keystone species, it regulates the populations of small mammals, ensuring that the biological balance of the Atlantic forest remains intact for posterity. The ocelot remains as the guardian of nightly secrets, the prince of shadows who reigns with beauty and ferocity under the tropical sun. In the upper canopy of the Atlantic forest, where the treetops touch the clouds, rises a voice that seems to come from the depths of the earth. The howler monkey, known scientifically as alouatta, is the absolute sovereign of forest acoustics and the loudest mammal of the New World. Its physiognomy stands out for possessing an oversized throat, designed by evolution to act as a massive biological resonance chamber. It possesses an enlarged cup-shaped hyoid bone that amplifies its vocalizations, transforming a simple breath into a terrifying roar. This biological rumble can reach an intensity of 128 decibels, a sonic power that makes the humid air of the jungle vibrate. The roar of the howler monkey is capable of traveling through dense vegetation to a distance of 5 kilometers in all directions. At dawn, when the first light filters through the mist, the troop begins its morning concert, marking the limits of its territorial sovereignty. This acoustic signal informs rival troops about the position and vigor of the group, avoiding unnecessary and costly physical confrontations. The War of Screams is an intelligent defense strategy where the volume of the sound determines the respect and distance between clans. Weighing up to 9 kilograms, its physical structure is robust and adapted for permanent life in the verticality of the trees. It possesses an extremely strong prehensile tail that functions as a fifth limb, allowing it to anchor itself to branches while emitting its war cry. The underside of its tail lacks hair and has high-friction tactile pads to ensure a perfect mechanical grip 30 meters high. Although its roar sounds aggressive, the howler monkey is actually a peaceful inhabitant that dedicates much of the day to the digestion of tough leaves. Its folivorous diet forces it to economize metabolic energy, making rest a biological necessity after its sonic explosions. The social group is organized in troops of up to 15 individuals, led by an alpha male who coordinates collective vigilance against predators. Despite their acoustic power, they must remain alert to the shadow of the harpy eagle or the stealth of the jaguar patrolling the ground below. At nightfall, the chorus is repeated, closing the daily cycle with a symphony that warns the forest that the guardians of the heights are still present. The social intelligence of the howler monkey allows it to recognize its family members through microscopic variations in the tone of the roar. Each scream is a testimony to the biological resilience of a species that has turned air into its most effective weapon for survival. As a keystone species, it plays the role of forest gardener, dispersing fruit seeds across miles of the Atlantic forest. Its biological health is the barometer of ecosystem integrity, indicating the vitality of the primary forests that still survive in Brazil. The loss of habitat threatens to silence these ancient voices, transforming the roar of the jungle into a desolating acoustic void. The howler monkey remains as the guardian of the echoes of time, the vibrant spirit that reigns in the green gloom with a voice of thunder. Each time the forest vibrates with its call, it reminds us of the immensity of wildlife and the need to protect its crystal kingdom. The heartbeat of the Atlantic forest will continue to resonate as long as the sovereign of the heights continues to scream. His challenge against eternal oblivion. In the green gloom of the Atlantic forest emerges a flash of pure light that seems to have stolen the brightness of the tropical sun itself. The golden lion tamarin, known scientifically as Leontopithecus rosalia, is the sovereign of elegance and one of the rarest primates on planet Earth. Its most legendary feature is its silky and vibrant orange coat, an armor of biological gold that protects it under the forest canopy. It possesses a majestic mane that surrounds its small face, giving it the appearance of a miniature lion that reigns over the high branches. Weighing barely 600 grams, this small titan is a prodigy of agility, moving among trees 20 meters high. Its physical structure is light and aerodynamic, allowing it to perform acrobatic leaps to capture insects and small lizards in the air. It lives in strict family groups where loyalty is the supreme law, cooperating in vigilance against the deadly shadow of the ocelot. Parental care is a shared sacred mission where fathers carry their offspring on their backs during weeks of forest travel. This family devotion guarantees the survival of the lineage in an environment where every square centimeter of territory is a battlefield. It uses its long and slender fingers as biological precision tools to extract larvae from the deepest crevices of the bark. Despite its beauty, this Brazilian jewel is in critical danger of extinction due to the massive fragmentation of its ancestral habitat. Indiscriminate logging has reduced the realm of the Atlantic forest to small islands of vegetation isolated by miles of sterile pastures. The loss of ecological corridors hinders genetic flow, threatening the biological stability of populations that still struggle to persist. Thanks to international conservation efforts, the golden lion tamarin has become the highest symbol of hope for Brazil's biodiversity. As a keystone species, it plays the role of forest gardener, dispersing seeds that will give life to new trees in the heart of the forest. The golden lion tamarin remains as the guardian of golden flashes, the resilient spirit that reigns in the silence of the threatened forest. Its presence is the vital heartbeat of the Atlantic forest, a reminder that the majesty of nature must be protected for posterity. Among the dense foliage where the light fragments emerges a master of visual deception who has turned stillness into his ultimate weapon for survival. The eyelash viper, known scientifically as Bothrechis schlegeli, is the absolute sovereign of mimicry in the lower strata of the tropical forest. It possesses supraocular scales that function as biological eyelashes, breaking its silhouette and allowing it to blend completely with moss and orchids. This cold-blooded predator is a strategist of infinite patience, remaining motionless for hours on a branch located less than 2 meters high. It uses its loreal pits to detect the thermal signature of a bird or a small mammal, calculating the exact distance for a strike of surgical precision. The attack is a lightning explosion of mechanical force, injecting a potent hemotoxic venom that collapses the prey's circulatory system in a few seconds. The eyelash viper remains as the invisible guardian of the Atlantic forest, the lethal shadow that reigns in the absolute silence of the vegetation. High in the tropical canopy, the harpy eagle appears as the absolute sovereign of a green world suspended over the darkness of the forest. Its scientific name is Harpia harpygia, and it is one of the largest and most powerful eagles on the planet. It mainly inhabits lowland tropical forests, from southern Mexico through Central America and much of South America. In Brazil, its presence turns the jungle into a vertical territory, where life and danger are also decided dozens of meters above the ground. The female is usually larger than the male, with a weight that can approach 9 kilograms, while her wingspan can be around 2 meters. Unlike eagles of open spaces, its wings are wide and relatively short, perfect for maneuvering among trunks, branches, and vines. Its dark grey, white, and black plumage blends with the canopy shadows, while the double crest on its head gives it an almost prehistoric appearance. Its forward-facing eyes calculate distances with extreme precision, turning each branch into an observation platform and each forest clearing into a possible attack route. But its most famous weapon is in its feet, enormous talons that can measure around 13 centimeters in the largest females. Those talons are comparable in size to those of a large bear and allow it to grip strong prey directly on the branches. Its diet includes sloths, monkeys, opossums, iguanas, and other canopy animals, because much of its hunting world is not on the ground, but in the heights. When it detects a monkey moving among the branches, the harpy remains motionless, locks its gaze, and measures the distance between leaves, trunks, and open spaces. Then it advances from branch to branch with short flights, using the canopy shadow to approach without breaking the natural rhythm of the forest. At the decisive instant, it launches from above with a rapid drop, opens its giant claws, and directs all its weight toward the chosen prey. The hunt ends almost without a chase, because in the canopy, the harpy's precision can close the escape before the prey finds another branch. Although it may seem slow when waiting, its attack is a brief explosion of strength, silence, and absolute control. Compared to many birds of prey, the harpy does not depend on long flights over open skies, but on vertical ambushes within the forest. When defending its nest, it can be firm, vigilant, and powerful, especially because its young depend for a long time on adult protection. Its presence regulates populations of arboreal mammals and maintains a natural pressure on species living in the upper layers of the forest. In the rainforest, the harpy eagle not only dominates the sky, it dominates the invisible space between branches, where few hunters can reach it. On the flooded paths, where the land merges with water, emerges the most peaceful and colossal architect of the Atlantic forest, the South American tapir. The Tapirus terrestris is known as the silent sower of the jungle, a sovereign that patrols the green corridors with absolute stealth. With a weight that can reach 250 kilograms, this titan is the largest terrestrial mammal of Brazil, possessing a muscular structure of massive power. Despite its imposing size, it moves like a ghost among the dense vegetation, using its thick skin as a biological armor against thorns. Its mobile proboscis is a perfect natural engineering tool for selecting the sweetest and most nutritious fruits of the forest's lower canopy. When feeding, it fulfills its supreme ecological mission, dispersing seeds across miles of forest, guaranteeing the eternal regeneration of the tropical flora. It is an expert swimmer that uses rivers as its secret escape routes, reaching the safety of deep water before any threat of land predators. Although its mechanical strength is considerable, the tapir prefers the mystery of the gloom, avoiding contact and remaining almost invisible to the human eye. As a keystone species, its presence is the barometer of forest health, maintaining the dynamic balance between land and the vibrant life of Brazil. The tapir remains as the guardian of the seeds, the colossal gardener who ensures that the green heart of the Atlantic forest never stops beating. In the middle layers of the canopy emerges the most brilliant strategist of the Atlantic forest, the robust capuchin monkey, belonging to the genus Sapajos. Weighing approximately 4 kilograms, this primate combines astonishing physical dexterity with a cognitive capacity that challenges the limits of the animal world. It possesses a prehensile tail that acts as a mechanical stabilizer, allowing it to hang from branches while using its hands to manipulate the environment. Its most legendary feature is the deliberate use of tools, a biological technology that demonstrates an advanced understanding of physics and mechanics. The capuchin selects granite stones that can weigh up to 2 kilograms, using them as natural hammers to crack extremely hard palm nuts. It uses a flat rock surface as a biological anvil, positioning the seed with millimetric precision before delivering the high-energy blow. The The mechanical force required to fracture the shell requires fine motor coordination and a physical stamina that only experienced individuals possess. The young meticulously observe the group's leaders for years, learning the complex technique through imitation and biological persistence. They live in complex societies of up to 20 individuals, where cooperation and the exchange of information ensure the survival of the troop under the sun. Their repertoire of vocalizations includes specific alarm signals to warn of the presence of the jaguar on the ground or the harpy eagle in the air. It is a bold omnivore that consumes everything from fleshy fruits to insects and small vertebrates, taking advantage of every nutritional resource of the rainforest. Its amazing capacity for adaptation allows it to thrive in various habitats, from dense forests to the edges of vegetation degraded by humans. As a keystone species, it acts as a vital seed disperser, maintaining the genetic diversity of the millenary trees in the heart of Brazil. The intelligence of the capuchin is the barometer of primate evolution in the New World, representing a milestone in the history of wildlife. The capuchin monkey remains as the guardian of forest wisdom, the small engineer who reigns in the canopy with a brilliant mind and an iron will. In the shadowy corridors, where light barely touches the ground, dwells the most nervous sentinel of the Atlantic forest, the forest deer. The genus Mazama represents the sovereigns of elusive agility, perfectly adapted to navigate the dense tropical labyrinth. With a weight of up to 30 kilograms, its compact body is a masterpiece of forest aerodynamics designed for instant flight. Its large and mobile ears function as ultra-sensitive biological radars, capturing frequencies inaudible to other forest inhabitants. Every centimeter of its nervous system is in perpetual tension, processing the slightest rustle of a dry leaf under the step of a predator. For this ungulate, silence is not peace, but the prelude to a lethal encounter with the shadows that patrol the Atlantic forest. It is the fundamental prey that sustains the stamina of the jaguar and the tactical intelligence of the ocelot in the heart of Brazil. When the snap of a branch breaks the calm, the troop activates a biological emergency response driven by pure adrenaline. In an explosion of energy, the deer launches through the underbrush, reaching a speed of 45 kilometers per hour in seconds. It uses erratic jumps and sharp turns to break the hunter's line of sight, becoming a brown streak among the trunks. Its physical resistance allows it to maintain the flight for several kilometers, exhausting the patience of predators that rely on the short ambush. It possesses scent glands that secrete chemical alarm signals, warning its peers about the exact position of the invisible danger. As a keystone species, its biological cycle is the pulse that feeds the food web. guaranteeing the survival of the sovereigns of the top. The forest deer remains as the sentinel of the shadows, the alert spirit that defines the border between life and death. Its existence is a testimony that absolute vigilance is the only price to persist in the most dangerous kingdom of Brazil. In the humid understory of the Atlantic forest emerges a warrior of barely 3 centimeters that guards its territory with disproportionate ferocity. The bullet ant, known scientifically as Paraponera clavata, possesses the most feared biological weapon among all insects on planet Earth. Its stinger injects a potent neurotoxin called ponerotoxin, occupying the maximum level on the Schmidt sting pain index. The impact of its attack generates an absolute agony described by victims as the physical sensation of being hit by a fiery bullet. This sonic wave of pain can last up to 24 consecutive hours, keeping the nervous system in a state of paralysis and extreme suffering. As soldiers of verticality, these ants defend their colonies at the base of giant trees with unmatched tactical aggressiveness. The bullet ant remains as the guardian of microtrails, the small sovereign that reigns in the gloom with a stinger of steel and fire. In the dense green dome of the Atlantic forest dwells a being that has challenged the frantic pace of nature through absolute calm. The three-toed sloth, known scientifically as Bradypus variegatus, is the sovereign of parsimony and the master of energy efficiency. Its anatomy is designed for perpetual verticality, possessing curved claws of 10 centimeters that function as impregnable biological anchors. It spends 90% of its existence hanging upside down, a position that allows it to watch the forest world with a minimum expenditure of mechanical force. Its true superpower is extreme slowness, moving at a speed of barely 0.2 kilometers per hour to become invisible to predators. It possesses the slowest metabolism among terrestrial mammals, processing a diet of tough leaves in a digestive cycle that can last up to 30 days. Its fur is a vibrant ecosystem where microscopic algae grow, giving it a greenish tone that blends it with the moss of the canopy. This botanical mimicry is its ultimate shield against the visual sharpness of the harpy eagle and the deadly stealth of the jaguar. Its neck possesses additional vertebrae that allow a head rotation of 270 degrees, granting it 360-degree vigilance without moving its body. Despite its robust appearance, the sloth has a reduced muscle mass to conserve energy, weighing barely 4 kilograms in its adult stage. Once a week, this inhabitant of the air descends to the forest floor on a high-risk mission to meet its basic biological needs. On the ground, its speed is reduced to critical levels, becoming the moment of greatest vulnerability to hunters patrolling the Atlantic forest. As a tree dweller, It plays a vital role in the nutrient cycle, housing hundreds of moths and symbolic microorganisms in its fur. The sloth is the supreme testimony that biological resistance does not always depend on brute force, but on absolute harmony with the environment. The sovereign of stillness remains as the guardian of slow times, the spirit that reigns in the green gloom with infinite patience. Beneath the carpet of dead leaves, where humidity saturates the air, shines a living jewel that challenges the laws of forest discretion. The poison dart frog of the Atlantic forest is a chemical colossus enclosed in a body that barely reaches 3 centimeters in length. Its skin exhibits vibrant and electric colors that act as a visual warning code known as biological aposematism. This neon flash informs every predator that a single contact with its mucous surface will result in an immediate and lethal tragedy. It possesses granular glands that secrete potent toxic alkaloids capable of paralyzing the nervous system of beings much larger than itself. The power of its chemical load is so massive that a minuscule dose is enough to stop a heartbeat in a matter of minutes. It patrols the leaf litter labyrinth with absolute confidence, knowing that its chemical armor makes it invulnerable to the forest's hunger. Its life cycle depends on the extreme humidity of the jungle, depositing its eggs in protected microclimates under the forest shade. As a keystone species, its presence is the barometer of forest floor health, indicating water purity and ecosystem stability. The dart frog remains as the guardian of forbidden colors, the small titan that reigns in the gloom with a legendary poison. When absolute silence takes over the Atlantic forest and the sovereigns of the day rest, there emerges a winged hunter that dominates the realm of the gloom. The vampire bat, known scientifically as Desmodus rotundus, uses a high-precision echolocation system to map the environment in total darkness. It possesses thermal sensors on its snout, capable of detecting the heat of blood vessels under the skin of a sleeping prey several meters away. It moves with absolute stealth, landing near its target and walking on its limbs with surprising agility to approach without being detected. It uses its sharp incisors like scalpels to make a small cut in the skin, injecting saliva loaded with anticoagulants that dulls the perception of pain. This winged parasite silently consumes the vital blood, while the victim remains submerged in a deep sleep, completely unaware of the predator's presence. The vampire bat remains as the sovereign of the shadows, the nocturnal spectre that ensures its biological subsistence in the heart of the mysterious jungle. In the brightest corners of the Atlantic forest emerge small flying jewels that challenge the laws of physics with their vibrant and unique colouring. The ruby-headed hummingbird, known scientifically as Clitolema rubricauda, is one of the sovereigns of lightness, weighing barely 7 grams in its adult stage. Its plumage possesses a microscopic structure that refracts sunlight, creating an iridescence effect that looks like a moving liquid crystal painting. It possesses the most accelerated metabolism in the animal kingdom, with a heart that must beat at an astonishing speed of 1,200 beats per minute to persist. This winged athlete performs up to 80 wing beats per second, allowing it a perfect hovering flight to extract nectar from the deepest flowers. It uses its long, bifid tongue as a biological precision tool, daily consuming double its own weight in sugars necessary for its energy. As the supreme pollinator, it guarantees the genetic diversity of bromeliads and orchids, maintaining the fertile pulse of the tropical forest of Brazil. Despite its diminutive size, it is a territorial warrior that defends its nectar sources with an aggressiveness and courage that astounds observers. The loss of habitat threatens to extinguish these endemic species that act as the barometer of the health of the continent's primary forests. The hummingbird remains as the guardian of the petals, the fleeting spirit that reigns in the air with a heart of fire and wings of light. The Atlantic forest is a biological cauldron where extreme humidity and torrential rains define the rhythm of life every day of the year. The forest canopy is so dense that barely a minimal fraction of the sunlight manages to kiss the humid and dark ground of the primary forest. This perpetual gloom creates an atmosphere of mystery, where the saturated and heavy air challenges the stamina of every inhabitant of the jungle. In this theatre of shadows, evolution has sculpted the sovereigns of the ambush, endowing them with senses that far exceed human vision. The jaguar and the eyelash viper blend with the thick vegetation, using the lack of light as their ultimate and lethal biological armor. The ocelot patrols this labyrinth of water and moss with a mechanical precision, turning the hostile climate into its greatest strategic ally for hunting. The Atlantic forest remains as nature's most demanding laboratory, where humidity and shadow rule the destiny of untamed life. The future of the Atlantic forest stands at a critical crossroads as human expansion fragments Brazil's last sanctuaries of biodiversity. After centuries of massive exploitation, the original biological architecture has been reduced to small islands of vegetation isolated by asphalt and urbanization. Currently, only a minimal fraction of the original forest cover survives as a fragile testimony of a paradise that once dominated the coastline. The sovereign of stealth, the jaguar, sees its biological corridors cut by roads, limiting its hunting territory and its vital genetic flow. The golden lion, tamarin, the living treasure of the trees, struggles to persist in forest fragments that barely reach a square kilometer in area. When the habitat vanishes, the heartbeat of thousands of endemic species weakens, pushing the forest warriors toward the abyss of final extinction. The loss of a single biological link in this unique ecosystem triggers a chain reaction that threatens the integrity of the entire green lung of the continent. Protecting this kingdom requires a coordinated international will to restore connectivity between the wildlife refugees that still manage to breathe. Saving the Atlantic forest is not only about rescuing the animals, but a biological imperative to preserve a unique jewel of planet Earth's evolution. Our mission is to ensure that the heartbeat of the forest continues to vibrate, so that the majesty of untamed nature does not disappear forever. Subscribe to the channel and share this video to carry this message of respect far. Each gesture helps protect the wonderful creation of nature.